Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Divine Keeper podcast. If you're new, I'm your host, Indy Watson, and if you're not new, welcome back. Hi guys, happy Friday. Welcome back to another podcast episode. You see my cat, she's kind of running around right now, and so it's going to be a lot of sound. Hopefully not. Hopefully she's quiet, but if there is sound, please bear with me. It's my cat. Like, should I just grab her? I don't know. I feel like I want her to kind of roam free before I go to work anyways. But I wanted to talk to you guys about a couple things. Okay, I feel like I started really busting out the podcast setup because I was having an inner dialogue moment, and I talked to myself a lot, and I've had so many realizations about how wrong I am about a lot of things in myself and in my life. And I think you're living when you question all that you've ever known. I think it's wrong and weird. Sorry, I combined the two words, but I think it's weird and wrong to go through life, thinking the same things that you once learned are going to be applicable in every situation you're ever in, and that, you're not constantly questioning the things that you already know. For me, I think one thing, obviously everything is prompted in life as well. There's always a situation that prompts you to kind of question, doubt, not even question, doubt, second guess, but more so reassess, reevaluate, reflect on how you are as a person, who you are as a person, and if you want to continue down that pathway and, shape that person that, you're already in the essence of becoming. Do you want to switch and divert, or do you want to stay consistent on the path that you're on? So it's been a lot of personality reflecting, because I've made a lot of good decisions, and I've also made a lot of dumb decisions, and I'm also just an honest person with everybody else around me besides myself. So, I've been very blunt, cutthroat, honest to people that I care about in my life, but I've been very avoidant, dismissive, and preoccupied that I don't really want to sit and assess, reflect, and parent myself in the ways that I have started to do and have been doing. But I was kind of straying away from those things. So one of the first things that I feel like in my life, honestly, that I've started to question the most is my idea of self-love, and how I've realized I don't actually know what that is, and I have no clue what self-love looks like. Now, obviously I have some grasp of it, but I was talking to a friend, and he and I were just having sorry, I'm about to sneeze. Ooh, okay, hold on. He and I were having just this conversation, and we kind of got down to the subject of self-love, and as he's talking about it and stuff, I feel you were put in situations where you really do truly learn the essence of self-love and how vital it is in your life. And I feel we all say, oh, I love myself, but after some reflecting, I feel I didn't really love myself in an internal aspect as the way that I love myself in an external aspect. I feel after a lot of reflecting, I'm okay, when I talk about myself and listening to the way that I talk about myself, I talk about myself heavily on an external basis. I never talk about, oh, I love how caring I can be, and how I'm always giving back to others, and how I'm honest, and how I'm always I'm the best. I look so good. There's a sense of vanity that I have. I'm infatuated with myself, but was there self-love? Probably to some degree, yes, but in a lot of cases, no, because I don't fully have the correct mindset on how to love myself. I feel like I said, all of the self-love that I've curated for myself has always been on an external basis, and now I'm trying to learn who I am on an internal basis. One thing that I've done in my life that I think I talked about on my podcast was how I stopped wearing lashes, and I don't really do my makeup anymore. Actually, I just stopped that kind of completely because I feel like I've grown to be vain. I've grown to want to be beautiful. I've grown to want to be the most attractive and best version of myself that I could possibly be, to feel good about myself. But if I'm constantly depending on how good I look and how I look externally and presenting myself as a beautiful woman on the outside, how am I and what do I look like on the inside? The inside of me is not as attractive as the outside of me. And if I'm putting all my value on my external basis, at some point that fades away, and I end up looking as ugly as I am on the inside on the outside. And obviously I'm not saying that I'm ugly on the inside, and I'm not saying that I'm ugly on the outside, and I'm not saying when you reflect like that you need to speak so harshly and negatively upon who and how you are, but you do have to be real with yourself. Like, genuinely, you have to be honest with yourself. I can be honest with myself and say, and I did a lot of, like, I started shadow journaling. I haven't really been able to kind of get into it, but I've started a 30-day shadow journaling. And I realized one of my flaws is, like, I'm a very judgmental person. And I think we're all judgmental people, but we judge people in a way that subconsciously uplifts us while demeaning them. And, you know, this was really clocked earlier in the week when I got a speeding ticket this week. I got a speeding ticket, and obviously not promoting speeding, whatever, but I got a speeding ticket, and because I was trying to speed home, check on my cat. You know, I have 2 jobs, so I was like, I just got this kitten, I gotta make sure she's okay. I didn't even get an officer no excuse. I was like, bro, okay, whatever, thank you, I'll take the ticket. Went on about my day. I'm talking to my dad, and I'm asking him questions about my cat because he's seen her, like, he was watching her while I was at work for a little bit. She's so bad. Are you okay? Hey, can you just... Yeah, she's just gonna stay here. I'm sick of this running around. But he was watching her while I was at work, and, you know, I was like, oh, does my room smell? Because I'm a first-time pet owner. If I, like, you guys don't know me, you guys don't know that, but I'm a first-time pet owner. I've never had a pet before. Like, I've had a fish, and I've had a hamster, and when I had my hamster, I was in elementary school, middle school, and I hated that thing. I mean, he was cute, I loved him, but I just hated, like, cleaning up after him, and I hated how it was just unaesthetic to have a hamster cage on my floor, and then, like, it was just a lot. And Nova, you stink. Yeah, you stink, girl. But anyways, and she wants to cuddle. But it was just a lot. And, you know, getting a cat, especially a kitten, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so much. Like, her litter box stinks. Sometimes she stinks. Like, right now her butt stinks. And even after I wiped her butt still stank. And yeah, I don't want you this way. But yeah, so many things are just different. And I was telling him, like, oh, he said my room smells good, and I was like, oh, like, I like blah, 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 blah. Like, obviously I'm not gonna, like, repeat what I said because that wasn't nice, but he was like, I had said something about my sister's room, or my sister, and, you know, he was like, you can't give yourself a pat on the back while, like, trying to, like, push her down, you know, like, making a slick comment about her in a way that kind of elevates you. And I was like, bro, like, this is what I be talking about. Like, in my mind, I couldn't really feel chastised, or, like, I was being, I couldn't feel like a victim in a sense. Like, I couldn't be like, oh my gosh, like, it was just a joke, like, chill. Because I know that I have that problem. I know that I have a problem making slick comments sometimes in a way that, like, kind of pushes someone down, but, like, subconsciously, like, lifts me up. Or, like, you know, sometimes we all make comments that's like, oh, like, I could never do that. Like, I can never be like that. And it's like, you're kind of pushing them down, saying what they're doing is wrong, how they are is wrong, and you were too good to be doing what they're doing. When, in all honesty, we're all going to be put in situations where we're just, like, the same person that we were making fun of and talking about and gossiping about. Like, we're going to be in their same boat one day. So, like, never say it can never be you. And, you know, that's a prime example of me learning how I can be very judgmental and sometimes mean and malicious without even realizing it. And I've been learning to kind of parent myself out of that. I'm not even been learning. I'm starting to learn. I don't want to keep saying, like, oh, I've been learning. Like, this has been, like, a year-long process that I'm, like, on it and I'm, like, really going through it. Like, no, I just started learning these things. I just started realizing these things, and I'm grateful for it. But it's hard. And it's really hard to just go through so much internally, like, with the internal dialogue and the reflecting and the analyzing and the assessing. Like, one thing about me, I was, like, looking at a lot of my relationships. I know that on my last podcast episode, I was talking about, like, my situationship and how that ended and, like, how that made me feel. But, like, one thing that I've learned is, one, I have a bad habit of going back to people when I know that things need to be over. That's always been a bad habit. Sometimes I feel like, you know, when people come back to you as well, you let them back with easy access. And I think I've been learning about my energy and how valuable that is and my time, and how I do think second chances are vital, and, like, it's important to, like, give people grace and another opportunity. But it's also, like, in the way that I'm doing it, I'm kind of blissfully doing it in a way that, like, spins a narrative of what I want, not what's actually in front of me. And I start clinging onto hope more than the reality of what the situation is promising in front of me. And I end up kind of fixated in some kind of delusion, and also this kind of loop that what I'm wishing and hoping for will come true when it isn't. And I'm trying to break out of that. I have been looking at a lot of my relationships actually and just reflecting, and I'm like, damn, like, why do they all kind of have the same patterns? Like, they're all ending similarly. Like, it's not like I've had gone separate ways from people and it's ended differently. Like, for me in my life, it all ends the same. And I'm like, okay, so either I'm consistently picking the wrong people and like who own the wrong characteristics, but even when I reflect, I'm like, no, like, they're good people, like, at least a couple. They're good people and they treat me good. Like, actually, they probably are all good people, sorry. They're all good people, but did they treat me good? Absolutely not. But yeah, they treat me good. They have good qualities. I like these things about them. Why does it keep ending the same? And if that's one consistent factor, like one consistent thing happening, the common denominator is not me. The common denominator is me, and there's something that I need to learn, which is why everything that I get in is kind of showing the same signs and replicating the same patterns in my life that it did previously. And I really, really, really wanted to feel so frustrated with that. Like, I really was like praying, and I was like, no, it can't be me. It can't be me. But no, like, it's me. And there's something that I need to fix about myself. And that's not where this whole journey started. I've been kind of on this pathway of like healing myself, but I've been on the pathway, and I was on the pathway for wrong reasons. I've done a lot of things in my life for wrong reasons, and I've been also very reflective of that. I haven't been to the gym in a while, and I know I talk about the gym kind of often, but the gym used to be my thing. Like, the gym literally used to be my thing. Sophomore year, I like got a gym membership, and I really just wanted to start working out. I had like a private, like a little trainer, a personal trainer, and I'm trying to say private, like, I'm not that bougie. I had a personal trainer, and I kind of like started getting into working out, and I actually started to really like it. I started to really, really enjoy it. I enjoyed working out. I enjoyed moving my body. I enjoyed doing those things. And then, I started track. And I really wanted to quit track. Like, at a certain point in my life, and obviously I did quit, but I really I never would have thought that running was for me. Like, the way that I started, I was like, I went to working out, going to the gym, and then I honestly just tried out for the track team just to see if I'd make the team, because I was like, okay, like, let's see. I made the team. Then I actually started doing it, and like, at first I was like, damn, like, this is hard. like this is hard. I'm struggling to breathe. Like, hello, I don't like really doing the running, but I grew really. She just farted and it stinks. Hey girl, why would you fart on me? No, but I get you're relaxed, but you stink. Sorry. But I don't like this, but I love my cat, so it's okay. I wanted to see, like, I grew in adoration to the team, and I wasn't even really like, not to say I wasn't really a part of it, but I was like a sophomore, and my team was a bunch of like seniors, and like I just really I liked watching, I liked just like observing the community and like the basis of where I was at, that I was like, okay, like, I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna keep trying. And then started getting back into the gym, starting to work out, started to get sad and like get my heart broken. I start to work out more, and my mindset becomes, now I'm gonna go hard in the gym because they hurt me, and I'm gonna go hard in the gym to look better, so then they regret losing and hurting me, and then they start to miss me. Okay, yeah, I do that for a while. I do that for a little bit. They regret, they miss, they come back, me stop gym, me repeat process, because me is in this loop now, and that gym is out of spite, not gym is out of want, gym is out of care, gym is out of something I want to do. And I realized that, like, oh my gosh. And I got to a point where actually I was like, I don't even feel like going to the gym. Like, I don't really care if you look better than me, or you think that, like, here we go again with the external basis. But I turned something that I loved into a spiteful action to get back at someone else who I once loved, And now my foundation for everything that I'm kind of starting in life is disingenuous to myself. And I think that's also, to circle back, a prime example of self-love. When you do stuff, you do it for you. You do everything solely for the purpose of you, not for the validation of others, not for the satisfaction of others, not for the gratification of others, but for yourself, because that is what makes you happy. And I've been really like teaching myself, like, I'm not living my life for the sake of other people. Podcasting was such a me, fun, awesome thing. And then it became a lazy thing because it became a chore that it felt like I had to do. And it's like when you feel like you have to do stuff, you're not really finding any enjoyment out of it because it feels like a chore. But it's like, I love to do this. So I either need to, one, learn how to value myself enough to do the things that I love and know that that's what's really pouring into my cup, or B, love the things that I'm doing and just do the things that I love. And that might sound like A, but it's completely different. It's either like I either love myself enough to pour into myself, or I love what I'm doing enough to keep doing what I love. So it's like either way, I'm manipulating myself in a way, kind of gaslighting myself in a way to still pursue myself in just in a way that doesn't feel so trivial, like, and hard. I mean, because sometimes self-love can be hard. It can be really hard. Even loving your flaws, I think, is a really hard thing, because that's all I've been recognizing about myself lately is like flaws. And it sucks because who wants to think I'm a flawed person? I really wouldn't want to think that. I know you wouldn't want to think that. Like, it's hard to really come into terms with the fact that it's like I'm not as straight and a-okay as I believe that I was. And that is once the recognition of what the problem is occurs, then the change can actually finally start to happen. And I was driving in the car today and I was saying, like, life has started to feel like a math problem to me. And it's like, it seems like a lot of the math that I'm doing is wrong and I'm not really learning. And I guess, like, I'm like, for me, like, math can be, okay, I recognize that I'm doing the math problem wrong, and then I need to learn how to finally do it right. And that's how I feel with so many situations in my life. I know that everything and the quality of my life will improve once I start giving myself the quality and the treatment that I deserve for me, like, because I want to and because I deserve it. And, like, I'm not longer going to look for people to tell me I deserve something or tell me that I should have something or tell me that I should do something, because I don't really care. Like, I don't really care to continue to seek out and ask for clarification and validation on who I am and how I am as a person. That's how you better achieve self-love. And that's a process, a forever process. My life lately has just been reprogramming, reteaching, reassessing, and re-understanding. I'm learning to parent myself. I'm learning to teach myself. I'm learning to just do so many things differently and be different. And, like, I've also always kind of feared change. I think I've always feared change because my change has relied on the validation of others to believe if the change was true. And so I guess, like, there's discomfort in changing. Here, Novi. You get my hair. There's discomfort in changing because what if I change and people don't accept who I become? Or what if I change and I don't have what I have anymore? I went through a really big drastic change when I was a sophomore in high school, or going into the sophomore year of high school. But when I started, like, studying the Bible, reading the Bible, really being embedded in Christianity and religion, I felt disconnected from so many people in so many ways that I was like, these are, like, some of my closest friends, and I feel like I'm no longer interested in things that we're talking about or doing or saying or little things like that. And I felt so different that difference was so uncomfortable that I was like, maybe I'm wrong for feeling different, or, like, maybe this different feeling is wrong, so I need to go back to what I know. And I've gone and built a new life in chaos. And change is also hard because this change I'm undergoing is steady and it's daily and it's hard, but it's not chaotic. It's a peaceful shift and changing, even through painful emotions and hard cries and little things like that. It's still a steady course and a steady pace that I'm walking through. I'm not running through, but a lot of the things that I've done in my life, I've ran through, and there's a lot of chaos that I've created for myself to find comfort in. And because I'm no longer in chaotic atmospheres, because I'm no longer dealing with my emotions in an unmaintainable and manageable way, because I've really shifted the way that I'm doing certain things, I don't feel the unsteady movement, and it also kind of makes me miss the chaos of my life. Whenever I was kind of faced with hardship, I would always kind of combat it with some kind of other destructive thing I could possibly do in my life. And I got to a point where I was like, okay, I don't want to keep doing this stuff anymore, and it's just, like, stupid, and I'm over it. And it's like, sometimes I really do, like, it's like a crack. It's like crack, the bad habits that I have adapted. Like, being single can be hard sometimes because, like, what if I just want a bunch of hoes? Like, what if I just want a bunch of people to talk to me and text me? And, like, I don't talk to nobody. My phone is so bone dry. I gotta work. I come home. I play with my cat. I play with Nomi. She's going to sleep, but she looks so scary when she's about to fall asleep. And I go to bed and I wake up and I do it all again, honestly. And it's boring not having nobody to talk to and nobody to really, like, call and stuff and hang out with and, like, all of those things and, like, you know, do a couple stuff. Like, you know, that can get boring. And it makes me want to resort back to when I was seeking validation from other people, to feel validated by other people, to feel wanted by other people, to talk to somebody, to have company, to not feel alone, to not feel isolated. It was nice having, like, a roster full of people who wanted to speak to me, and, like, it felt like I was kind of pouring into them and getting something in return. And, like, literally I'm just pouring into myself, so I want to return back to something that isn't as fulfilling, but it's not permanent either. So it's like I'm gonna constantly be in that loop. My life, like, I'm being forced to change, like, genuinely I'm being forced to change, because it's like either I go down this path or I go down this path, and, like, one path is gonna loop me back to the path that I'm trying to avoid. Or yeah, one path, wait, I don't think that made sense. But no, one path, like, say I take the pathway of, yeah, no, okay, I was right. One path is going to lead me back to the path that I'm trying to avoid. Say I go down the path of, like, building a roster and talking to hella people because I don't want to be alone and I don't like that my phone is dry. Like, say that's the feeling, say that's the case. Okay, I do that. And now I'm avoiding the path of just going down the steady course of finding self-fulfillment and gratification. And I'm always going to be looped back to where it's essential. It's, like, permanent. It's, like, so necessary to have that sense of gratification, self-gratification, and self-permanence. Like, that's why it's going to keep looping me back regardless of whatever I do. When you're pouring into other people and wanting them and begging them, like, please give me something, like, pour into me, like, treat me the way that I need to be treated, you're not ever going to find it. Like, you know, I've always, like, kind of just said, like, with other people, how you can run away from a problem as many times as you want to, but you're going to run into the problem later in life, and it might hit you on your best day ever. Like, your worst problem and your biggest nightmare and the hardest fear and, like, all your issues might hit you in one spot, and it could have been avoidable if you just healed and worked through a lot of the things and, sorry guys, issues in your life. And that's to, like, really, like, demonize them, make it all, like, negative, like, issues. Like, you know, we're all severely messed up, but, like, that's not what I'm trying to get across. But it's like, we're not all perfect, and we're all human beings, and we all have a lot that we need to work and grow on, and that will just never change. And so, I don't know, like, you're going to be constantly reprogramming and relearning things about yourself, and it's okay, and it's normal. And I think, like, just get a journal and, like, literally start writing down and talking to yourself every little waking thought, feeling, negative emotion, bad thought, bad day, and just sit with it. Like, honestly, I was driving today and I just was overcome with this, like, deep sadness, and instead of, like, trying to distract myself, I sat with that feeling and I talked about why I feel this way. I validated myself for feeling that way. I gave myself the okay to be human, because it's as bad as it is, and as bad as it may feel to feel something you think you shouldn't be feeling or believe that you shouldn't be feeling, you're a human being and you're destined to feel. So I feel like instead of demonizing yourself and making yourself the bad guy for having such human emotions, you should just sit with yourself and tell yourself that it's okay. We're so quick to self-talk so negatively upon ourselves that having any positive reinforcement kind of feels like we're dick riding ourselves. Like, genuinely, it feels like self-glaze, when positive reinforcements is what like assists in parenting. And the older you get, you learn you have to be a parent to yourself. While you have your own parents who are here to coach and guide you, you know yourself inside and out, and you know what you really need. And not everybody's going to be with you every step of the way. So for me to say, like, you know, you only ever have yourself. That's who you live with and who you'll die with for the rest of your life. Honestly, you have to just really, like, be here to cater to yourself, give to yourself, coach and parent yourself in the ways that can grow, shape, and redefine you into someone so much better than what you are and what you want to be. You know, you're going to grow into someone who can flourish and not feel suffocated in tight spaces, but still find a way to persevere and grow. So, yeah, honestly, that was today's podcast episode. And I really, 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 really hope you guys enjoyed. My Novi is asleep, but I will see you guys next week, and I love you guys so much.